When I was in the 10th grade, I wasn't really a big fan of school. I mean, I loved the social aspect of it, but when it came to being in class, I just couldn't stand it. I was bored out of my mind. There was nothing interesting to me. I just was that student. And then I had this chemistry teacher, and most of his class looked like the rest of school, where we had to sit in desks and listen to the teacher talk, and you take notes, and that was what school most of the time was for me. But then this teacher, one day, he was just like, all right, everybody, I want you to get into groups. We're gonna do the science fair. You're gonna create a project that solves some type of problem. So I got in the groups, and it was like, okay, another group project where somebody's gonna do all the work, and I'll just try to slack and go along with them in it. But then me and my friends got together, and we were like, what should we do? And I had this crazy idea. I was like, well, what if we came up with an electric car? My friend's like, that's an awesome idea, because by the way, this is like the late 90s. There's no electric cars yet. So we were like, what if we use magnetic power and we make this piston that, using magnetic power, powers the vehicle, an electromagnetic piston, and it can just run purely on electricity, and we can become multi-billionaires because we're going to get rid of fossil fuels, and we're going to be the greatest inventors of all time, and we can do it in 10th grade in science class. A few years later, Google was invented, and we found out that the electromagnetic piston had actually been invented years earlier. But that's not the point. So that's what we did for like 3 weeks in this class, and we worked on this project, and me and my friends collaborated to create an electromagnetic piston, and my teacher was blown away by it. And we went and won the school science fair, and he was so excited that he took us to the regional science fair, where we presented in front of everybody this electromagnetic piston. And we did not win the regional science fair because apparently the judges also knew that this had already been invented, but I swear we didn't. But the point is that this project was monumental for me. It was like this moment in life where I realized school can be something I can actually love, that I can embrace and be engaged in, and actually even excel in. And it just kind of opened this whole world up for me. So when I became a teacher 10 years later or so, I wanted to be the kind of teacher who did this type of stuff with my students. And so, I started learning about project-based learning and having my students do more of this hands-on, authentic, experiential type of work while also learning the subjects that I teach. And my students loved it as well, and it brought a lot of kids who were like me, who don't like doing this type of work. It cracked open the shell and helped them realize that they can love learning. Because let me tell you, I learned in that science teacher's class in 10th grade that I do love learning. And so I shot an email to this old science teacher, and yes, he was actually pretty old at this point, and I just said, hey, I doubt you remember me, but I was a student in your class a long time ago, and I was just so impacted by this science project we did, and it actually inspired me as a teacher to do that same kind of thing with my students. And he just responded, hey, I don't remember that science project. I do remember you. I don't know if he actually does or not, but we all know how that goes. And he said, I do remember you, and it warms my heart to know that something we did in my class had such an impact on you and your life. And so my big takeaways for that story, this experience, is: one, we should be letting our old teachers know what they mean to us, because it really is a big deal when somebody changes your life. And it was really special for me to get to reach out to an old teacher, and I think it was extra special to him to have a present teacher reaching back out to him. But it's also important to remember as a teacher that there's things that you are doing in the classroom that are shaping your students' lives in transformational, monumental, tremendous ways, and you might not ever know about it. He thought he was just doing a science fair project, following the state standards, trying to mix it up a little bit and trying to find new ways to engage certain students, not knowing that he was shaping my life in a monumental way, and as an extension, the thousands of students I've gotten to teach and interact with. This 10th grade science teacher absolutely changed the world, because that's what we do as teachers. We change the world. So just know, you sometimes are just planting a seed, and you might not get to see that seed grow in to whatever type of tree it'll become, but but we should keep planting them and keep watering them and just hold on to this hope that they're going to grow into something special. So, 10th grade science teacher, thank you for letting me invent the electromagnetic piston.